Welcome back, everyone. I'm Emily Faulkner with the Farmstead Forum podcast. Today, we're talking about kidding season, the most critical time on any goat farm. From preparing does and preventing weak kids to handling delivery, emergencies, and building a complete kidding kit, we're covering it all. Joining me today is Chris Musselwhite of Holly Bottom Farms, who's here to share practical, hands-on strategies for healthy births and thriving herds. Grab a cup of coffee and stay tuned. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Farmstead Forum podcast. I'm your host, Emily Faulkner, and today we're diving into one of the most important and sometimes most stressful seasons on a goat farm, which is kidding season. Whether you're brand new to goats or you've been through a few kidding seasons already, you know this is the moment where all your management decisions show up. Nutrition, minerals, genetics, body condition, it all comes to the surface when those kids hit the ground. Today, we're covering what every goat owner needs to know, including how to properly prepare your does before labor, the most common nutritional deficiencies that can lead to weak kids or even miscarriages, and what to have inside your kidding kit before you ever need it, and how to recognize delivery emergencies, how to properly check on mama goats in those critical first 24 hours. And I couldn't think of a better guest to have this conversation with than Chris Musselwhite of Holly Bottom Farms. Chris brings real boots on the ground experience raising goats here in the Southeast. He's walked through parasite challenges, mineral deficiencies, tough kidding seasons, and he's built a management system focused on preparation, strong genetics, and proactive health practices. His approach is practical, straightforward, and rooted in what actually works on the farm. Chris, I'm so glad you're here. Let's jump in. Why is kidding season really the moment of truth for goat owners?
Well, what owners should focus on before their does are even go into labor. The 60 days before kidding, the last trimester is when 70% of the growth happens, the fetal growth. If nutrition is off during this period, you will see weak kids, low birth weight, poor milk production, pregnancy toxemia, and increased kidding difficulties. Body condition scores, your does should be at least 3 to 5 on a 1 to 5 scale at kidding. Too thin means weak labor, low milk, poor colostrum. Too fat, higher risk of pregnancy toxemia, harder deliveries, and balance does matter as far as all this goes, your mineral intake and all.
Let me see right here. So, what should owners really focus on before their doe goes into labor? What are you looking for? You said that was in the 60 days that most of the growth happens.
Most of the growth happens. I mean, you definitely want to focus on what the goats are taking in, what nutritional value it has.
Now, I have a question because I was told I was raising La Mancha goats and I was told not to give my goats grain because they were going to be dairy goats. I was getting them trained to the stanchion and I was told not to give them grain close to kidding because the babies might get too big and it would make it more difficult with the labor. Do you think there's any truth to that? That's just a quick question I'm inserting in there.
No, because I mean, mine eat grass and grain and it's kind of balanced. So it kind of depends on what you have in your field too, how much nutrition I get.
Well, mine were really just foraging. They weren't on pasture. They were in my tree line. So they were just, foraging on what was there. And then I would move them as needed, like once a week. And then I was giving them, maybe about 2 cups of grain, maybe a cup and a half twice a day.
Right. That's about right. And goats are very particular as to what they eat anyway. They know what their body needs. You would be amazed. I mean, I even give them a mineral substitute that they keep in their stall or they keep outside the stall when they're not in the barn. And when they decide they need it, they go get it.
Isn't that crazy how animals just know when they need it? And they also know what to stay away from.
They do. They really do. And I mean, you have some sometimes. I had a boar that we lost this, it's probably about a month and a half ago that he had a sudden onset of something and we could never figure it out. But he definitely had a deficiency in something, or he either got into something that he wasn't supposed to get into or got too much of something. And it
Mm,
does happen.
like azaleas. Don't
Yeah.
plant azaleas around.
Yeah. Definitely do your research on what plants you've got on farm, walk around your farm and look and see what you've got. I've got poison sumac. Well, unbeknownst to me, poison sumac is a natural dewormer for goats and it works miracles for them. So it kind of helped with my parasite load.
That's less pharmacy inputs you gotta do.
Exactly.
Pine needles too are good, I've heard. I've got lots of pine trees around our house.
We do. We feed ours pine needles, especially during the summertime. So I'll go out and cut a bunch of pine limbs and actually put them in the pasture, and they'll pick at them when they want them. And we haven't really had a huge parasite problem at all. In fact, we just purchased a microscope so we can actually start doing our own parasite studies on farm.
That's awesome. So, in your experience, what deficiencies cause the biggest kidding issues, nutritional deficiencies?
A lot of your minerals, like we're in sandy soil, so I really have to watch their mineral intake because there's less minerals in the sandy soil. Now we're building it up, but within that transition, I give them a mix of multi-mineral that they can actually eat when they need it, and it helps with those deficiencies. And so far, all of my kids and my lambs, I mean, it goes both ways when you're looking at this. Sheep and goats have had high birth rates and very healthy. I would say 98% of them have come out of the womb and nursed within the first hour and are very active.
Where do you get your minerals from?
I actually get them from a local guy down in Byron. I mean, it's just a Purina mix that we utilize.
Okay. And I know, like, when you're looking at the mineral bag, isn't it important to pay attention how much copper is in there? Because they're
Yeah,
prone. That's the next mineral deficiency that's common in goats is the copper.
right. And if they do get deficient in that, you have to actually give them a copper bolus, which I've never had to do. I mean, we've never had that issue. So, and never mix this with your, do not give this to your sheep either because it's high in copper. It'll actually kill them.
Yes. So how I guess people that graze multi-species, that's got to be difficult trying to make sure that the goats have what they need without the sheep getting into it.
Well, I mean, you're utilizing rotational pasture, so you're keeping them separate anyway, and you move their different minerals around with them.
Okay.
And the
So you can do multi-species grazing with while still keeping the different livestock separate.
correct, correct.
Okay.
You're running your
That
sheep
makes
first, then you're running your goats behind them. Your sheep are going
okay.
to eat, and the reason I compare this, I know we were talking about goats and goat kidding and things like that, but hand in hand, both of these go together. I mean,
Yeah.
if you can help a goat give birth, you can help a sheep give birth also.
And what about have you had any problems with late deliveries with your goats? Like when they're carrying multiples, they have a late delivery date?
I have, the one that was just born this weekend, she's probably about 4 or 5 days late, and she wound up having it in the middle of the night. We did not even realize it until we went out the next morning, but everything apparently went fine, even her afterbirth, so she was
That's
good, the
good.
kid was good, and the kid's wide open right now on the farm.
Oh, good. How long, if you can tell me off the top of your head, how long is the gestation? Because I was way off. Isn't it 140 days?
Yes, it's around 140 to 150 days,
140 to 50.
and it
So
also
so
depends and if they're throwing 1 single, kid or they've got multiple.
so if they have multiple, they're more likely to go over, like closer to the 150?
They can go over to 150 or they can actually go down a little less in the 130s. It just it's basically based on their body.
Okay.
I mean, it's just like a human. I mean, you have some women that give birth, on time, and then you have some that are delayed, and it's really up to that um goat's body as to what they can handle.
Okay, that brings us to my next question. How do you know when the kidding time is close?
So you're looking at their tail. A lot of mine are rubbing against trees or rubbing against the barn. Their tail straight up. You're gonna see leakage. And finally, their plug will actually come out. And once their plug comes out, it's anywhere from 1 hour to 5 hours as to when they're most likely going to give birth. And sometimes it's stretched. I mean, I've seen them go 6 hours, and we've actually induced oxytocin to help them sometimes. I don't like doing that, but I also don't want a kid stuck in the birth canal either.
What do you give it as a shot?
Yeah, you give oxytocin as a shot and a small amount, and it actually helps them to speed up the birthing process, and it actually helps them with milk load and all that too. and it's by weight. So you need to calculate your weight on that as to how many cc's you give them.
Okay. So you talked about like the different signs you would see in your
Their
mama
udders,
goat.
right? Their udders also get shiny. You will see their milk bag drop. It'll start
Okay.
filling. You can check their udders. I mean, I have checked them and seen them leaking, or I have massaged it to see if it was actually giving milk yet, and I knew she was very close.
Okay. Um, so you want to talk about like the different stages of labor?
We can. Like I said, once she gets close, she's going to lose her plug. So you're going to see a mucus plug drop. And this depends. I mean, we stall ours once they start getting real close so we can manage all this and watch this. She's going to get very swollen in the hind area. She may lift her head up and she's looking straight up. You actually see her sides kind of quiver, which means she's going into labor usually or
Like
having.
having a contraction?
Yeah. Actions. Let's see. Then you're actually going to see the water break. Once the water breaks, then you know you've got a kid on the way. And we constantly monitor at that time. I mean, we're in and out of the barn constantly looking to see what's going on, how she's reacting. I start the timer and, watch for any other signs. And you'll see in the video that you show towards the end that I actually had to pull one. So, I mean, it does happen. I glove up, and actually in that video, I didn't glove up. I just alcoholed my hands off real good and went in, and helped her with that one because she had been pushing for so long. But, I'm trying to think, Emily, some other signs. I mean, they kind of get real agitated. If you've got other animals on farm, they'll get agitated toward them too. We've got a little Nigerian that stays outside that will never breed or anything like that. But even the mamas, when they get very close, they will get very aggressive and hit the side of the barn and things like that to get her away. Their whole temperament changes. They get moody.
So that's why it's probably best just to isolate them like you do, putting them in a stall.
Right. Right. And another thing is when you're using a stall to birth these animals, you need to keep them extremely clean because it lessens your parasite load, things like that. And I'll even put diatomaceous earth down and put hay on top of that to keep the parasites down.
Entering a question here for our YouTube viewers. If they, I mean, just a little comment here. Okay. So what all does somebody want in their kitting kit?
So I've got betadine. Betadine is utilized for the umbilical cord. As soon as the soak it in betadine, that pretty much cleanses that and keeps any chances down of infection or a parasite as far as that goes because you or bacteria.
Do you dip their hoofs in it too? Because I've heard somewhere that people dip their hoofs and their umbilical cord. I don't know what the
Well, I mean,
rationale is.
their hoofs are very soft and malleable. So, I mean, yes, I could see that being an issue, but I've never had an issue with that. And after about a week or two, I mean, they start hardening up and everything, and you usually don't have any issues.
Okay. So betadine. You mentioned like putting on gloves when you had to go in there to assist one time. Do you really need like the ones that go all the way up to your elbow, or would regular
I
like
would, I definitely would not go in with a latex glove that goes up to your wrist.
just your wrist?
Yeah, I would
Okay.
definitely have one of those on hand that covers your entire arm, especially with me. Some of the guys have hairy arms and things like that. I mean, you don't want to, introduce anything you don't have to the birth canal.
Yeah, I don't think people think about that. It's not just like a gross factor. It's you could introduce infection into the uterus of the goat, and that could cause septic,
So
problems
it,
and infection. Um, okay. So, and lube, which I'm guessing you can get most of the stuff at Tractor Supply. Is that where you go for
you can
your
get it at Tractor Supply or like me, I buy my betadine at Kroger or somewhere. It's a lot cheaper because at Tractor Supply, it's a specialty item. I mean, or you can order it online off Amazon. It doesn't matter, but check your
okay.
pricing on a lot of that stuff because I mean they price those as specialty items there, and in other stores are everyday things. So just kind of
Uh,
compare.
and then a bulb syringe. You and I kind of talked about that. I have some left over from having a baby at the hospital. So if you just have one of those old bulb syringes for kids laying around, you can easily use that. Thermometer.
Make sure you sterilize it before you use it. I mean, you don't want to put anything in their nasal passages, especially at a young age. Seal it in a Ziploc bag. after it's dried, and I'll actually utilize that to cleanse their airway or clean their nose out once they come out. I also wipe their mouth out and all that because sometimes they'll have fluid and all. I will even turn them upside down if I need to and shake them a little bit, just like you
And
would
we
a regular child.
and we have a video of that for y'all's viewing pleasure at the end. We're gonna show right after a couple kids came out on Chris's farm. Okay, a bottle and something called Pritchard nipples. That's just in case you have to bottle feed a little bit, right? Okay.
And you can, I mean, I have never had a problem with a lamb or a goat latching on to its mom. And if I have, and it's been, an issue, the best thing you can do is take some of the mom's milk and put on the baby. Then you can put them in a closer area in the barn so that they are right there together. And it's almost like that mama has no choice but to take that baby. And sometimes they can be stubborn. Like you said, I mean, I may have to go out there and milk one time and actually bottle feed it some to actually get it started. And another good thing is too, is putting up some of the milk. You can go out there, you can buy these little milkers on Amazon or one of these places that you plug up. You can take some and actually put it in, you know, human baby milk bags and put it in your freezer, and you'll have it as backup, and it'll be rich in colostrum and all, especially during kidding season. Or if you have an issue, you can actually get with a local farmer, or there's a recipe that we use with red cat milk and a couple other things that you can mix, buttermilk and all that, that you can warm up and actually feed the kids too.
Okay, I'm gonna get that recipe from you and then we'll put it in the show notes.
Sure can.
So, Nutri-Drench, is that like a multivitamin or something? Have you heard of
So a
that?
NutriDrench is a bunch of vitamins all in one fluid that you can actually give the baby. You can take a small syringe, give it to them very slowly. And this is after they're milking for a little while if you think they need it. Now, generally, and I mean, I've done it with lambs, but I really haven't had any problems with my goats as far as having to give them NutriDrench. Another thing is that if you have a mom that is not a good mom, I hate to say it, but I'd call them. I'd get them out, sell them, whatever, because all your moms need to be good moms on your farm, and they kind of need to take some of the weight off you because you don't want to have to feed every other bottle baby you have.
Right.
So your
Breed the
genetics are,
best and eat the rest.
that's right.
What else do you have in your kidding kit? What's important to you?
Well, like we said, we got gloves, we've got lube, we've got a bulb syringe.
I'll tell you, the first thing I noticed in your video was your headlamp. I was
Right.
like, that is genius. You have to
Yes.
have good lighting.
I
And if it's
keep
in
my
the
head.
middle of the night,
Yep.
you gotta have a headlamp.
You have got to have a very good headlamp that you can keep on charge. And I mean, I go out there every night, 10, 11 o'clock before I go to bed, and I check on all the babies. So I wear my headlamp. I look like a coal miner going out there. But um, that is a good addition to the kit. You want a thermometer to check their temp in case they're getting sick or the mama's getting sick. Let's see. I keep LA 200 in my kit. I do not open it unless I need it. I've still got a bottle that I've had now for 3 months that I have not opened. Once you open it, it spoils. It is actually the new, I guess, amoxicillin that they have on the market for goats. They may get mastitis, things of that nature while they're milking. And you definitely want to keep that on hand.
Is it like a powder or is it a
No, it's
liquid?
actually injectable.
So it's already reconstituted to inject. In other words, it's ready to go.
Right. It's
Okay.
ready.
Did you have to get a prescription from your vet for that?
I did. I've got, like I said, I've got oxytocin, LA 200, B1, and a couple other things that I keep in my kit. Now, I'll definitely get you a list, but a lot of times the vet has to come out to your farm and at least see your animals once a year and know that you're knowledgeable enough to give these meds. And I
Yeah.
was lucky enough to have a vet that comes out to my farm that I know that will actually prescribe me this stuff to have on hand because he don't want me calling him at 2 o'clock in the morning.
No. Well, how much did they charge you to come out there like once a year?
250, 270.
Oh my gosh. Does that depend on how many animals you have or that's their going rate for just a
That's usually
house,
their
a
travel
farm
time
visit.
and all that, and just kinda coming out there and looking at the health of your animals or anything and giving suggestions. And luckily, we're in an area that I deal with a very popular vet that's on TV that kinda helps me out with a lot of things.
So is this so? But is he local? How did you?
He's out of Byron. They're out of Byron and one.
What's the name of the vet? Because I know that's a big problem. A lot of farms have a hard time getting a large animal or just a livestock vet to come to their farm
It's actually Critter Fixers.
for fixers. Putting all this in the show notes, guys.
There are, speaking of veterinarians too, there are, vets that you can actually get online and do video chats with them and then be able to prescribe you medication. They will walk you through, okay, you need to take a temp. I need to look at their formatia, their eye color. I need to look at their gums. I mean, you can do things like that online and they will actually prescribe you medication that way if they're licensed in the state of Georgia.
Okay. That's another thing I guess that you would need is a FAMACHA card.
Right.
I didn't know there was a card for that.
There
Probably
is.
get it off Amazon.
Yeah, you can get it off Amazon. I mean, you can compare their eye color, or their eyelid color. You're gonna pull their eye down and actually look at it, and you'll be able to tell where they're at. And then you can go from there and look at the protocols as to what steps to take next, whether it's a parasite load or whether they're, got a bacterial infection, and just kind of go down the list and put all the puzzle pieces together. And I've got something too that I think I sent you that will kind of guide you through some of the basic sicknesses in goats anyway.
Yes, we can cover that too. I'm sure we'll have time. And then have you ever had to use a kid puller?
No, the only kid puller I've got's my hands. Yeah, I mean,
So don't waste your money on a kid puller.
yeah, don't waste your money. I mean, you can take your hand and put it in and feel around, especially if you've got just one hoof exposed. You can feel around until you find the other hoof, kind of ease it forward, feel around if the head's turned. You're going to have to reach in a little bit, move the head forward. Then once I kind of get hold of both the hooves and the head, you're going to put both your thumbs up top behind their ears and just kind of ease them out if you can. And do
Now
not do it quick.
when do you feel that's necessary to intervene?
When the
Like
mom's in
when
distress, most definitely. When you're going past that hour, 2 hour mark, I mean, of them birthing, you can actually tell the mama's struggling. She's having a hard time. It could be from the crossbreeding you're trying to do. Like right now, I'll change subjects a little bit, but I'm breeding Katahdins to Dorpers. My Dorpers are a little smaller than my Katahdins. Now I come home one day to a Dorper small sheep on my farm with a baby hanging out with its head and hooves, and I thought for sure it had passed. I pulled that baby. Luckily, that baby had a clear airway. I was able to pull it with the help of my brother-in-law, and we got the baby out okay and sat there for about 15 minutes with the towel just kind of roughing it up. And all of a sudden it just kind of come to life. And it's been running around the farm ever since.
it's crazy. I mean, I don't know about I have not had livestock except for baby rabbits, kits. But I mean, human babies are a miracle and amazing and how they can thrive and they're resilient. So it's wonderful to see God's creation and how animals are similar as far as their ability to thrive and then for everything to happen fine without you there.
Right. And it
You
does.
know, like sometimes you just walk up and there's some new babies there and
Well, I
everything
mean,
came out okay.
I have people honestly that look at me and go, "We just let our goats have our babies out in the middle of the pasture, and I mean, we don't worry
Yes.
about it." And I mean, that's the natural way to do it. And I mean, yes, you can do that, but when you put so much money into some of this livestock, I monitor mine constantly. I mean, we had a sheep that had a prolapse. Well, I went and put it back in. I mean, I took care of it. And luckily, she had her baby lamb with no problems. So, I mean, you're going to have stuff like that pops up on the farm. And there's a lot of good information on Facebook. I think it's, is it Get? Go to Emergency. I think it is GET. Go to Emergency something on Facebook. I forget. I've got a quick link. I mean, if I ever need it and have a question. They've got a lot of good printable material on there that you can print out,
Mhm.
anywhere from birthing to parasites to anemia. I mean, that's one thing you need to watch too when you've got goats that are getting close to birth and things like that, that their iron is up. So you need to make sure their iron's up and they're not getting anemic and things like that. I've actually broken up a peel and given them a little bit of iron, and it boosts them up right before pregnancy.
Like a human iron pill?
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of things that are on the counters or on the shelves for humans, as far as iron, calcium, things like that, you can actually give the goats too.
Now, which dewormer is safe in pregnancy? Is it fenbendazole?
Yeah, fenbendazole, but I try not to use it if I don't have to when they're kidding and nursing.
So if
I
your
try to
FAMACHA score is high, like if they're heavy parasite load, what's your treatment of choice? Trying to do it more regeneratively.
regeneratively. I've actually got a book
Mhm.
on that explains everything, and we can put the link in it to the podcast. But there's several things you can do. The biggest thing you can do is plant natural tannins in your pasture that help keep their parasite load down. Or like we talked about, some of the pine needles, putting the pine needles out for them and things like that that are natural, that are not, man-made medicine. And you're constantly treating them instead of just trying to pour liquid on them or give them a shot, when they're in their second trimester of pregnancy.
Mhm. Well, so I think that's the theme here is prevention is key. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Yes, and we love herbal remedies, and there's a ton of things out there that you can look around your property and find, or you can grow yourself and give them in their feed on a weekly or a monthly basis to keep their parasite load down. And that way you don't hit that brick wall and last minute you're trying to deal with a parasite load and you've got a very sick animal.
Right. Okay. So we talked about some things to look for as far as the health of the mom, our kidding kit. Let's talk a little bit about the first 24 hours after birth, because we did talk about like you have to clear their airway and to dry them off, and you have to put the iodine on them. What do you make sure you do? Like, how often do you check them during that first 24 hours? Like, do you have like a little routine that you do?
My protocol, I mean, I'd go out there and check them every 3, 4 hours to make sure they're doing right. The biggest thing I want to get them through is to make sure they're nursing. Once they
Mm-hmm.
realize where that teat is, once they realize what they've got going on and how to actually utilize it, then you're kind of pretty much free and clear. The mama starts taking over. And you can tell in the mother anyway, if she's got good motherly instincts, she'll actually direct them back there anyway. I want to make sure that their airway's still clear, that they hadn't retained any fluids or inhaled any fluids into their lungs. And that there's nothing raspy there about them. There, you don't hear them sneezing and coughing and carrying on. Want to make sure they're learning how to stand properly. I want to make sure their suction on the teat is very good. If they don't get the concept, if you got a clean hand, I mean, after birthing and all that, cleaning your hands, you can actually stick your finger in their mouth and rub your finger around their gums and actually start mimicking them nursing. And then you can actually try to put them on the teat that way. I've taken my finger out, put them right on the teat, and they go to feed or nursing, I should say.
Okay. We have a comment from one of our live viewers. It says, Christina, she's saying Southeast Georgia is loaded with pine needles, but I was told pine needles makes the soil acidic. It
It does.
does.
Yeah. Anywhere you got a bunch of pine trees, a pine tree load, the soil is acidic. But them pine needles are very good in raising goats and sheep. They love them.
Mm-hmm. That's also where pine needle tea comes from. And heads up that now is the time of year to harvest your pine needles while they're green because they have the highest amount of vitamin C that they will have for the whole year. So get those pine needles now while if you're doing some pine needle tea with them. Um, okay, so let me just go ahead.
I was going to say one thing we ain't talked about is a selenium deficiency. It's common
Mhm.
much of the Southeast. It causes weak or floppy kids, which is called basically white muscle disease. Sometimes a mother has selenium deficiency, she retains the placenta. That's one reason I give oxytocin. It actually speeds up the process of getting rid of that placenta.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, we were talking about earlier, the poor nursing. I mean, what solutions you would do. And you can actually get selenium in a tube at one of your local Tractor Supplies or places like that, that you can actually give selenium to the mom and to the kid if you need to.
Okay. Let's see.
And there again, I'll reiterate, pregnant is very good because, I mean, you're taking away a lot of your last minute issues that may occur if you kind of keep them on minerals and things like that throughout their pregnancy.
Now, before we continue, I want to remind you that all of the show notes and resources mentioned in today's episode are available on our website at farmsteadforum.com. If you're finding value in this content, please take a moment to like this episode and subscribe to the Farmstead Forum podcast on YouTube and Spotify. It truly helps support the show. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram to stay up to date on upcoming episodes, events, and everything happening with Farmstead Forum. Thanks so much for being here and for supporting this community. What are you watching the mama for within the first 24 hours after? I know you said you want to make sure she passes the placenta,
I'm making sure
but
she doesn't get weak. I'm making sure that she is stable. I'm making sure that she has no bleeding, excessive bleeding, things like that. And when she gets rid of the placenta, make sure there's no problems there. You want to make sure that there's not a whole lot of swelling back there. There is going to be for a couple of days, but it should start going away after the first couple of days. I want to make sure that both her teats are producing milk, that she's not having any issues there. There's no bacterial issues there that can be carried on to the kid, which is basically considered mastitis. You'll start seeing the nipple getting swollen. So it'll start swelling in the middle, usually, or up a little higher, and it'll get red and inflamed. If that occurs, that's when I'll give LA 200 to kind of curtail that. And like I said, you need to check your dosage as far as their weight and all that, as how much to give them. You want to make sure
how do you weigh a goat?
I
You have
just
to
eye it,
just
basically. Yeah, I'm not weighing a goat. I don't have a scale up there.
I was gonna say you'd have to hop on the scale, see how much you weigh, and then hold the goat while you hop on the scale again. That's my nurse brain
Well,
thinking.
listen, I'm not going to pick up
I'm
a
sure
125-pound goat.
I was
And
gonna say some of your goats are probably way too big. I know mine were too big to try to pick them up.
I mean, after they have the baby, I mean, make sure you've got them on a good feeding program because especially some of mine, I mean, with them throwing twins, it's going to slim them down real quick because them kids are putting a lot of pressure on them and drinking a lot of milk. So you want to make sure the mother's feed intake is proper so that you can keep her milk flowing and you can keep her in a healthy state. I've got one now. She's about to eat me out of house and home, but she is skinny as skinny can be because she's got two kids on her and they're just wearing her out.
So, do you have any supplements that you give them when they look like they're getting a little too thin? Do you like
Well, I mean,
beef up their grain intake?
beef up their grain intake. You can give them alfalfa and it helps with milk production and things like that. You can give them, I'll skip that. We'll put it in the show notes, I promise. But there's a natural herb that you can actually give them to help them with their milk lactation and things like that.
I know dill seeds. Is dill seed one of the seeds, and then fennel? I made like a little concoction of like 3 different seeds I got from Azure, and I never ended up using it. But I'll put our little, and I actually got that from a book called Natural Goat Care by Pat Colby. I'll link that too in the show notes.
Yeah,
I
vinegar
don't
is
I
a very
don't
good natural product for them.
I don't recommend everything that she talks about in the book, mainly because she's, I believe, in Australia, but she does have a lot of natural alternatives as far as feed goes and, goat nutrition anyhow. But that little seed mixture recipe I got from her book, I will put that in the show notes for sure. Okay. Now we talked about some red flags with mom, some different nutritional things that she would need. What would be your biggest takeaway about kidding season?
You're going to need to be on your toes, definitely. I mean, you need to watch them constantly. Make sure you have your go bag ready. I mean, it's just like packing your wife's bag when she's pregnant. You need to have it by the door ready to go.
And your go bag, you're talking about your kidding kit.
Yeah, my kidding kid. Um, have you
Go
had lamp
bag.
jars?
That's the prepper in you coming out. A go
Oh
bag.
yeah, it is. Definitely. Definitely. All of mine, believe it or not, right before a big storm or right after a big storm is when they have kidded. It is so funny. A storm will come in and I'll look at Michelle and tell her real quick. I said, she's fixing to give birth up there. And one night she come banging on the door talking about she's up here giving birth and it was raining like crazy. That's actually the video that you're going to show. It had just stopped raining and she was giving birth to her second ones.
My goodness, they just picked the best times.
They do. Either it's freezing cold outside or it's storming.
What about a full moon? Does that affect goats as it like it does humans
I don't think they don't
delivering
get
babies?
crazy as humans do.
I used to work in the emergency room, so whenever there was a full moon, the crazies would come out and the women would start dropping babies.
Same thing at the sheriff's office. When the full moon come out, we've got a ton of calls. So.
Okay, we're going to share this video that Chris took after he had some of his kids on the farm, and I'm going to share my screen here. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just going to let him kind of narrate. Let's see. Hold on. All right, can you see that?
I can see it. Can you actually blow it up some?
Yep. Let me. Is that good? Okay. So I'm going to let you kind of talk about what you're doing.
So she was kind of struggling a little bit. As you can see, I pulled that goat or kid. It wasn't breathing at the time. Its face was covered in fluid in the embryo sac. So I was clearing it away from its face. And there I'm cleaning its mouth, its nostrils. You can see it coughing. You can see mama doing her job as far as trying to clean it up. I reach in and actually pull out some more of the fluid and all out of its mouth and the embryo sac. It's still coughing. I'm stimulating its face. I'm checking to make sure the umbilical cord's already detached because she'll actually reach back and chew it off. And luckily, it just come detached by itself. Okay, it's
Now,
still cough.
how far? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. She's still coughing real bad. You can tell she's got a lot of fluid in her mouth and in her throat. And I was clearing that. Now I'm going
Now,
to stimulate her a lot with the towel. I'm going to start rubbing her.
how long in between the kids, like, were they born?
Probably about 8 to 10 minutes apart, to be honest.
Okay, so it's pretty quick.
Right. And that's me checking her there to see if she's got any more kids in her stomach.
Yeah.
And as you can see, there's a lot of blood back there. I mean, from giving birth to both kids. That's me wiping her hoofs off the towel now and stimulate her some more.
Now, does the mom eat the afterbirth like dogs do?
Yes. Some of them do, some of them don't. They do it for the nutritional part of it. I mean, it really helps them as far as their milk production and things like that.
That really makes you wonder. Have you heard of women, humans having their placenta encapsulated and actually taking no, that's a whole
No,
nother level of
that's a
crunchy.
whole nother. But as you can see, I mean, she's a very good mom. She's already
Yeah.
working on the first one, and then after a few minutes of me checking this one and putting iodine on it,
Look at it walking around.
yeah,
Gosh, they look so tiny.
I'll take it up there and put it by the mom. Let the mom lick on it, get used to it, and realize it's one of hers. That's one thing you don't want to do is keep it away from her too long.
Now, have you ever had any of yours reject a kid from the color? Like the kid might look different. I had a friend of mine that she had a solid black goat, and I forget it was some Dutch sounding breed, but her normally they're brown and black, and she had a solid black kid, and the mom just rejected her because I guess it looked different than her other one, so
Well, I
she had
mean,
to
that's why I
bottle
said, I
feed
mean, I've
that
had
one.
people in the past and old farmers I've talked to and stuff, and they say put the mom's milk on them. Put them in a tight area so they have no choice. And sometimes a mom will pitch a fit. I mean, she'll kind of push it away and things of that nature. But generally, after a while, she'll she'll take the goat on. And right now, I'm just giving them time together. I mean, she's cleaning them, checking on them, and if you could hear them, I mean, they're crying and they got a real high pitched cry when they come out of the womb.
See.
That's mama talking to them. Actually start communicating with each other. It's adorable. And you're going to see me try to put the baby on the teat. I'm cleaning its mouth, making sure everything's clear because I don't want it ingesting anything that it shouldn't. and I squeezed the teat just a little bit, get a little bit of milk coming out. She took to it just a little bit, and then I just continued
Welcome to the
stimulating and
world,
feeding
guys.
them, and
Do you want me to mute it?
yeah, you can mute it.
Gosh, the miracle of life.
It is. It is. It's joyful to watch. And I mean, sometimes you're going to have some bad days. I mean, I've had one in the past that was stillborn that I had to pull. But 99% of the time, if you give them a good diet, you take care of them like you're supposed to, you make sure they're getting the food that they need to go through their pregnancy, and you're pretty good off. I mean, to be honest. And see, there the baby's trying to get on the nipple by itself. I mean, it's constantly, slowly, just kind of being inquisitive, more or less. And before we left the barn that night, both of them were drinking. But as you can see, that poor mama's milk sac's about to bust. And that's me pulling some of the placenta away. I worked in the ER. I was a med tech for years. I worked on the cardiac cath floor. So none of this stuff bothers me. I've seen things probably some of the same stuff you've seen that'll just blow you away. After a while,
Yeah.
you kind of get used to it and it don't gross you out.
Yeah.
The one question I got that night was, how can you do this without gloves? And I said, I had no choice. I didn't
Because
have
it,
to glove up. But I mean, I had time to alcohol my hands and clean my hands and my arms off real good before I started touching them.
yeah. Now, have you already dipped their umbilical cords?
No, I have not at this point. I don't even know if that part's on video.
Okay. So you,
I think actually I had somebody run down and get the bottle we had was almost empty, so they went and got another bottle for us, and then I actually dipped them then. And basically, it's not dipping them. A lot of your betadine bottles, they got a little bitty nozzle on them. I just
yeah.
take them and hold them up and drench their entire umbilical cord with it, and they're good to go.
Okay.
And sometimes their mom will lick it off. It's not going to hurt them. I mean, it's a foreign fluid to them. Or the mom's either still trying to chew on the umbilical cord. They'll do that sometimes.
Look at it trying to stand up. Oh,
Already, they're
wobbly
trying to
legs.
stand up. Oh yeah, but I
I
mean,
tell you,
then,
there's nothing more precious than watching some baby goats jump around and they just look so crazy. Even, I mean, I don't know, even when I had my adult goats, they just make you laugh. I mean,
they
just the way
do.
that they run around and kick their legs up in the air, they're so funny to watch them.
When we let them out, we try to let them out twice a day, and when we let them out, it's like they have this huge burst of energy, and they are running around like crazy. And we've had this discussion before when we were talking about setting up a homestead or a farm. We've got a 30 joule fence. And actually, it was the one that's closest to us right now hit the fence. And they learned real quick that fence don't play. But they come right back
No.
in. Yeah, they come right back in and went over there to mama and just stood by mama like, what in the world just happened?
Is there a time frame you have to wait before you can let them go outside from the stall like they're in now?
It depends on your farm. It depends on what you've got around them. I mean, my guardian livestock dogs do not mess with them. In fact, my guardian livestock dog will actually sleep outside the barn door when they've kidded like this. He's very good about it. Jax is awesome. And I've seen it with all of them. So this was our second pair. And the first pair, he stayed outside the stall for a week. And then when she had hers, he stayed right outside her little gate, door, stall door, whatever you want to call it. He stayed outside hers for about a week. And then the one that we've currently got, even in the rain the other night, I noticed he was out there laying right in front of her gate, protecting her. So he kind of gets the gist of what's going on. Make sure they're walking good. I mean, with our lambs, our sheep, I mean, within the time it takes them to stand, they're running around the field. So the mom will usually stick with them. But with our coyote pressure and things like that on this bottom paddock, I at least wait a week before I let them out and let them start roaming around and kind of getting the feel for the farm.
Mhm.
And at least within 3 weeks, they're starting to nibble at food and things like that. One important thing I can say, if you've got kids like this in a stall, keep your water buckets off the ground. Don't put a water bucket
Yeah.
on the
They'll
ground.
drown.
They'll drown. They will go head first in there and you'll find them deceased.
Oh,
They make brackets for them that you can actually hang your water bucket on the stall, and you can kind of put it low enough that the mom can drink. And once they start learning to drink, and they will be curious because they're seeing their mom do it, they'll go up, stick their head in, they're kind of face planting it the first couple of times, and then they realize, hey, I can actually drink this, and they'll start drinking water too because it's necessary for them to have at a certain point water and milk. And you're kind of, breaking that cycle of them continuously drinking milk. And they're actually getting their hydration from some water too. And I was going to stop a minute. That's one of our boys.
yeah. He was showing y'all that
Yeah,
it was a boy.
it sure is. Nothing's dropped yet. The sack's there, but nothing's dropped. But yes, that was a boy.
Now, when do you band yours? If you're gonna
Now, the
have
only ones that I'm banning right now are the male rams, the lambs. I'm not
okay,
banding any of my goats because I actually want to continue to grow my flock.
okay,
But I do want to, they will be separated. So I'll have to pair them off with another pair of females or something like that
mm-hmm.
to continue breeding.
Or you can put the rams together, right? Like if you put one ram by himself, he'll be mad and try to get to the females, right? But if you put him with
You can put them with
another,
another, and sometimes they can be aggressive toward each other. You just got to kind of, watch over them, watch them, see what they're doing. I've got two rams in my sheep pen. When they were younger, I don't know how they survived, but they would back up 5, 10, 15 feet and hit each other.
oh
But
my
they
goodness,
did, and finally they learned how to get along. And I think there's kind of a dominance scale there as far as who's in charge. And it's
hmm
actually my crazy ram that I've got that I bottle fed. He's kind of the dominant one. But you can do that. I have had two boar goats in the same field. Like I said, not too long ago, we lost one of our boar goats, but I'm looking to get another one that's registered and all that to continue the bloodline.
Well, that was it for the video. That was a great video. Thank you
No,
for
you're
sharing
welcome.
that. Um, so we did have one question about when you mentioned the stress of the weather, or she said, is it the stress of the weather that makes them give birth before and after storms?
I don't know. They've never honestly told me.
Hopefully,
But no,
Christina
I
will get it.
mean, they do. They will wait till the coldest night, or they will wait till it's just thundering and lightning outside and the rain's just a pouring. And usually it's before or after that they wind up giving birth. If it's their time. I mean, it's one of God's functions, I guess. One of nature's things that happens. But like I said, every one of mine are giving birth right after or right before.
Christina also said, "Wow, how sweet and amazing." As she was watching the video, and she said, "Wow, baby goats cry." So we got to hear them cry a little bit in the video. And I want y'all to know because we're coming up on the close of the podcast. Chris does farm consults, and he will travel. How far will you travel, Chris, for a farm consult? Just so people can. And what are some issues you get frequent calls about for consults? Like, what are some of the things that you would be handling?
Some of the biggest things, I mean, anything from a homestead setup to your fencing to how to set up your paddocks to what grasses and what things to plant on your pasture for year round grazing to cut back on your feed bill, what tannin rich plants to plant depending on what you're running. I'm sorry, at my computer. What breeds work best on a farm in their area. And you can also create the pastures and things you need for the breeds that you want to breed, whether it's Katahdin or whether it's Dorper, or whether it's goats, what kind of system setups you need. If you're going to milk your goats and make goat soap, or you're going to sell your goats for meat goats or your sheep for meat, what chickens are best for egg laying, things like that. Because there's so many breeds out there that are basically bred for commercial use. I know a lot of farmers that run commercial chickens, but are replacing them every year because they stop laying eggs because they're spent out. If you stick to a heritage breed like a Buckeye or a Astrolop or something like that, you can get years of eggs out of them. Now you're going to pay some money up front to actually get them go. If you want a true bloodline, you need to look at some of the websites that have some of the breeders in Georgia, Alabama, Florida, Ohio. I mean, I'm looking at some of that for myself now. We're looking at putting Buckeyes on a farm as far as a chicken. because of their heritage breed and the fact that they're better scavengers and they don't require so much feed to produce their eggs. They go out and they find insects and they eat grass and things like that. Some of the other things I get is barn setups, water setups as far as water lines, as far as tanks, and how to set it up within your rotational grazing regenerative pasture system. Some of the
Goodness.
natural, go ahead.
No, no, you got.
Some of the natural things we utilize on farm to help us raise our animals, shelters that we utilize. I mean, I build chicken coops for 200 something dollars. I utilize 2x4s, chicken wire, and metal because we have cavity pressure in our area. So I'll actually use the tin off chicken houses to wrap the bottom of the chicken house with. And a lot of people just want to know some of the mistakes I've made so they don't have to try to reinvent the wheel. I mean, that's one of the
Mm-hmm.
biggest things. And if you got people that are doing it in your area too, you can collaborate with them and learn from them also. It takes a village to run that farm, I promise you.
Yeah.
And it can be a challenge sometimes. I've gotten calls from your homestead show that you did. People
Mm-hmm.
looking for hay that has not been sprayed or alfalfa that hasn't been sprayed, or where they can get perennial peanut hay from. Where do I get mine from because it's high in protein and it has no insecticides on it and it has no drying sprays or drying agents, or it hasn't been sprayed. The fields haven't been sprayed with Roundup. Those are things that you need to know. I mean, a lot of it's just the basics.
There was a lady in our farmstead forum group who she got shipments of hay from out west because I put out a question if y'all ever want to find someone local that has something like that, like an unsprayed hay or alfalfa hay that's from a known farmer that you can ask those kind of questions. Mm, and I'll have to look and see because she was somewhere from Kentucky, but she was moving to Georgia. I'll have to see. But do you know somebody who has alfalfa that's not been sprayed?
No, unfortunately, I do not around here. We don't.
That's why I don't give my rabbits alfalfa. I just we have hay from our pasture that I know hadn't been sprayed and it's not like high quality, but they still eat it. Plus they get, privet and stuff. Yeah, if it's been potentially sprayed with Grace on, y'all can't put that. I couldn't use the compost in my garden from the rabbits if I was giving them that hay. If you're using horse manure, you'll find out real quickly that that has been, their manure is contaminated with Grace on because your plants will start to die, specifically your tomato plants. But yeah, it's hard to find stuff that's raised regeneratively and
Well, there's a lot of farmers out there, and if you get on Facebook search, I'm lucky. I've got a guy that's about a mile and a half down the road that he processes all his hay. He does everything from a regenerative standpoint. And this year, me and him stood in the field and talked for about an hour, and I told him what to put out there, clover, things like that, to increase his nitrogen load in his pastures and also he could get more hay per acre. But there's natural ways to do it without all these chemicals. And if you can find somebody like that, you definitely hang on to them because I mean, I get about probably 8 to 10 round bales during the winter. I mean, just to substitute some for some of my animals. And I can take it, put it in the stalls. I can take it, spread it on the field. And if I got a bare spot in the field, I'll put the hay there. And come spring, summer, I mean, I'm growing his grasses out there in my field.
mhm, that's awesome. Well, okay, Chris, if people have questions after the live podcast is up here shortly, how can they get in touch with you?
You can send me an email at hollybottomfarms@gmail.com.
And I will also link his social media information if you guys want to follow Chris's farm page. And you're opening up a farm store too. Tell us about that.
We are. We are planting 3,500 vegetable plants, and they will be ready. What I say, April the 4th.
Okay, y'all.
They'll be
So,
ready.
and tell people where you're located so they can know where to.
We're located at 226 Margaret Court in Macon, Georgia, 31216. And you can actually call my farm phone too. Let me look up the number because I don't remember it right off the top of my head. Let's see. But we're planting everything from tomatoes, anything from your paste tomatoes to your Cherokee tomatoes to your Better Boys. We've got cucumbers, we've got eggplant, we've got squash, we've got zucchini growing. But the ad is actually on my Facebook page, and we're actually advertising with Facebook too. But the farm number, if you want to get in touch with me, is let's see,
478-318-6388. Okay. I got it. And I'll put that in the show notes, guys. We had one more comment before, or you got two more. Christina's your biggest fan. Speaking of farm consults, the farmers I know have told me that they have to use fungicides, pesticides because of the long summers or abbreviated winter in Southeast Georgia. The pests just keep on growing because the cold isn't long enough to kill them off. What would you suggest?
chickens. I would
Chickens.
put a lot of chickens out there. I let the chickens last year with a high fly load because of the manure around the farm. And instead of just moving the coops around, I just let the chickens out. They've been out ever since, and they have taken down the fly load some on the farm.
I imagine she's talking about like ticks and stuff.
I mean, you get you some guineas, they'll
But
take
that,
ticks real quick.
well, chickens, do they eat they eat ticks, don't
They eat
they?
ticks
A
also,
little
yeah.
bit. But I know the guineas are dumb though. You gotta I mean, hopefully they would like take cover if a hawk was circled around. How do you keep your chickens safe out when you're rotating them in the pasture? That's right. That's what Joel Salton uses, isn't it?
We've got
This
geese
you
running
just
with
put one.
one goose with them. Yeah.
Hmm. Do you have to put water in there for the goose, or is
Yeah.
that just ducks?
No, we
I
keep
don't.
water.
I
We
know
keep,
very little about poultry.
okay, you're talking about drinking water, or you're talking about putting them in a
I mean,
bathtub and,
like, I'm thinking of like ducks needing a water source to be able to eat, you know? They have to
right,
like use the water to somehow digest their food and when they're eating. So,
right.
but geese, I guess, don't need that. Okay. Sorry. I'm showing my naivety here.
No, it's okay.
All right.
What
Christina
this is
asked
all
one more.
about is learning, right?
Christina asked another question. She said, "Are you growing watercress?"
No, I'm not growing watercress, but I'm growing something else that I actually have in a tub out by the barn that in spring it'll come back. Oh my goodness, what is it called? But it's a green plant that actually grows in water, and I can actually take it and feed it directly to my chickens, and it cuts down on the feed bill.
Okay. You're going to have to get me the name of that and I'll put it
Oh
in the
yeah,
show notes.
yeah, I can pull it up for you here in just a minute, and I'll
Yeah.
text it to you. But
Okay.
there's a lot of ways to feed your chickens and ducks and things like that that don't require the feed store, and they're high in protein, and that regenerates itself in 3 to 4 days. You can take a bucket out in 3 or 4 days, your tub's full again, or up to 10. I mean, it depends on your fertilization of your water and the heat and everything else.
Do
There's
you ever
several.
soak your feed?
Yes, we do soak our feed. It goes a long ways doing it that way, and they get better probiotics, and they can actually digest the food a lot better. In fact, that's something that we're looking at right now that I'm talking with a guy with, um, on the feed dealers, because we're bringing on 500 meat chickens this year in the next month, and we'll be raising them out, is soaking our feed and doing the calculations and things on that so that we get a better feed to gain ratio on our chickens.
Yeah, I mean, how do you when you're soaking that much feed, you don't want it to go bad before the chickens get it. How long do you let it sit for? Just like
Well,
overnight?
no, usually about a day and a half to 2 days. And depending on Georgia heat, I'd keep it in the shade. And I've actually got a drill that I use and a paint paddle that I put
Mhm.
down in there, put the water in there and mix it and let it sit and add a little bit more water to it, mix it and let it sit. So it basically swells, breaks down some, and the chickens and all get the more nutrient out of it.
Wow. I know the one time I tried doing that with my goats, it ended up going bad, but it was because it was in our shed and it was, probably getting too hot in there.
Well, it's got to have some good air circulation without a doubt.
Yeah. Well, we talked about all kind of stuff on here. Y'all just didn't know what you were in for. So we got lots of stuff covered. If y'all have questions, shoot Chris an email and I'll post his contact info again on the show notes on our website. I'll hopefully get the show notes up within the next 2 days. And you guys just go to farmsteadforum.com to look at that. And if you've got questions, just let us know. Thank you, Chris, for coming on the show again. Look forward to having you back in the future.
Sounds great, Emily. I enjoyed it. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you too.
Take care.
Hey, thanks for listening. Join our Facebook group and follow us on Instagram for the latest updates. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit our website for upcoming events. For sponsorship opportunities, reach out to us through our website. See you next time.